The best of the morning to you. This is Monday with Friday, preparing you for a better week ahead. Justice issues are on my mind this week because I live in an unjust world. When the verdict in Wisconsin freed a white man who killed 2 people, there was rejoicing and celebration. The killer was called a hero and gifted with appearances on Fox News and a visit to the chief insurrectionist of the United States of America. Yet, when the verdict came down in Georgia, convicting 3 white men of murdering a black unarmed man, a public lynching in all actuality, radio silence has prevailed until now from all of the sources that celebrated the Wisconsin verdict. So I'm therefore convinced that those celebrations were not for justice, but for the prevalence once more of white privilege and more dangerously gun privilege, something known only to the United States of America. Now, it's not that gun murders don't occur in other parts of the world, and proportionally more than here in America. But in those nations, unlike here in America, there is no law that enables their people to watch in dismay, as the end result of those laws demonstrates that guns enjoy more rights than their people. Criminals, cartels, and gangs that unleash terror elsewhere are contributors to and results of injustice there. But here in America, injustice triumphs while certain laws and prideful mindsets inoculate us against any sensitivity that we have become idolatrous lovers of our own selves and our own guns, while our fellow men and even Jesus can both go to hell. Here's another example of injustice. Last Thursday was Thanksgiving Day in America. However, in recent years, I've been bothered with the whole whitewashed history surrounding America's sordid past regarding race relations, starting with how America's indigenous peoples were treated then and how they're treated now. Thanksgiving Day is fraught with painful memories for America's indigenous peoples. A prominent news network interviewed 40 of them from 12 tribes, and found that although on Thanksgiving Day they celebrate their ancestors in family gatherings, they're also reminded of oppression that continues today, entrenched in American law. One interviewee said he was thankful, but added this, quote, "The truth needs to be told about how America was really founded. It was founded on the murder of my ancestors and the robbery of our land. The only way we can overcome historical trauma is by teaching the truth in schools," unquote. Powerful thoughts that, especially since nowadays there are lots of educators who want everything but truth to be taught in schools. Another said, quote, "I'm familiar with the horrific events after the first Thanksgiving, but I choose not to let hatred fester. I believe it's important to know and remember what happened in the past, so we don't repeat the same mistakes, but it's equally important to forgive," unquote. Now, that's a healthy approach, I'll give her that. But with the warning that it's always dangerous to talk about forgiveness, especially when you're the victim or a descendant of victims, without also adding confession as the necessary flip side of that same coin. Now, in personal relationships, an individual is completely free to offer forgiveness without seeking confession from the persons that wronged them if that leaves them feeling blessed. However, in matters like this, we are talking about restorative justice. And what is restorative justice? Well, let's suppose something of value that's rightfully yours, especially something generational or intrinsic to your human dignity or human rights, like your land, your patrimony, your heritage, and your ancestors' economic contribution to your nation. Let's suppose all of that is taken from you, whether by force or by theft or dishonesty or by some law or policy, whether in an instant or over a 400-year period. The removal of those things that were rightfully yours constitutes injustice. Now, later on, no admission to this injustice, accompanied by only an apology or a plea to let's forget the past and just move on, can be considered justice until the full value of that which was unjustly removed from you is restored to the victims or their descendants by the persons who benefited from the injustice, whether they or their descendants. Only restorative justice shall do in matters of national and international peace. Justice systems that wrongfully imprison black men, releasing them after decades when DNA and other exculpatory evidence known to some in the same justice systems from the very beginning now emerges, and then sends those men home without an apology or a single penny of financial restitution for them and their families. Those people who run those systems are legal and judicial imposters. Finally, a new COVID variant, Omicron, has begun to spread worldwide. We're unsure of its origins, but some of the regions where it was first identified may not even be 40% vaccinated, some much lower. Vaccine justice pursues equitable vaccine availability to less affluent nations. A pandemic should teach us, humans once for all, that we who are richer and think ourselves more secure than others remain as vulnerable to danger as our scorned and endangered neighbors, no matter how high we build that wall, or how fast we deport those refugees, or how tightly we protect our wealth far beyond our fair share. Along the way, we fool ourselves that we live in a compartmentalized world when we do not. So when your rights, for whatever you claim them, injure or kill me, they're no longer rights, they're injustice. So just wait until your neighbor's rights catch up with you. And one more thing, there's greater justice in pursuing vaccine compliance everywhere than in enforcing travel bans long after the horse has bolted from countries we consider beneath us and who do a better job than we do with some things scientific. I am Michael Friday, and your week just got better. I'll see you again next week. Happy Monday from me and my pink potted plant all the way to Friday.